Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Lycan's Last Breath. Episode 5. Chapter 60. Vera. I close my eyes forcefully, not wanting to be witness to such cruelty anymore. When I open them back up, I'm out of those horrid dungeons, my grandmother and aunt looming over me in concern. One of them places her hand on my head, consoling me. I'm sorry, darling, but we had to show you what our species had come to. Your father understood well that we could no longer exist under these pretenses. The witch mother is pure evil. Is? I ask. My aunt turns to me grimly. Yes, we have every reason to believe she is still alive. There are witches still living in your world, most of them still serve her. This is why you can't let your guard down. Vera. If she ever found out a spirit wolf is still alive, she could try to use your magic to gain hers back. You cannot let this happen under any circumstance, do you understand? I nod. The implication is very clear. I'd rather die than give her powers. If she were ever to gain her powers back, with the rest of us gone, there would be no stopping her. No Lycan or werewolf would ever be a match for her. And what happened to my father? They both look at each other. We have reason to believe he is also alive in your world, although we are not sure in what state. We haven't felt him since we felt your birth. And what about my mother? You said she was a werewolf? Ah yes, her name was Lilith. Your father met her once and felt the mate pull, even though witches don't have predestined mates. She was a very lovely girl. My heart sinks at her words. Was? I ask. My grandmother turns sad. Unfortunately, she didn't survive long after you were born. You see, it takes a very special wolf to be able to breed with a warlock, and none ever made it out alive. It was the curse of giving birth to a spirit wolf. Unwanted tears start streaming down my face. I didn't even know these people, but I just know they had to love me very much to give up so much for me to live. All of a sudden, I feel very tired. The entire experience has worn me out. My aunt puts her hand on my forehead. You should go now. A lot of magic is required to keep in the state you're in, it's drained you. You'll need a couple of hours to recuperate. Sweet dreams, my dear. That's the last thing I remember her saying before everything goes dark. I don't know how long I sleep for, but when I wake up and peek through the window, everything is dark. Is this the same night? I turn to the other side of the bed, noticing Noah is gone. I get up from the bed feeling groggy, like I didn't rest at all. Maybe what my aunt said is true, being in their realm drains my magic and energy. Regardless, I get up from the bed and get dressed, heading downstairs to look for Noah. I find him looking out the kitchen window when I approach him. He turns around, sensing me, and puts his arms around me. Morning, sleepyhead. I grunt. How long was I asleep for? About 18 hours. I turn my head up to look at him. What? I mean, I can't blame you, we were at it all night, I must have drained you. Noah, I narrow my eyes at him and he laughs. Is that tea I smell? I say, turning to the fireplace. Oh, yes, Eldon said it might help you. He was here a few hours ago. I grab the kettle and pour myself some tea. It smells amazing, and this time it has honey. I sigh, feeling better just by the scent alone. As I take a sip, it tastes like some type of flowery tea. I sit by the couch and Noah joins me. What did you guys talk about? I ask him. Not much, I think he was only interested in talking to you. He's a very odd old man. I smile at this. Yes, yes he is. You were having a nightmare, he says. I turn to look at the teacup in my hands, enjoying the warmth of it against my skin. I was with my aunt and grandmother again. They showed me how spirit wolves were made. He looks at me, waiting patiently for me to continue. My skin crawls just recalling the experience. I take a deep breath and tell him everything I saw and everything my aunt and grandmother told me. He stays quiet for a long time, looking into the fire. I knew witches were evil, but I underestimated them. They also said the witch mother is still alive, Noah. What if she's the one that created the chimera? It had to be a powerful witch. More importantly, why would she create it in the first place? She was after Lycans and then werewolves, both of which are needed to create spirit wolves. Could she be trying to make more again? I shiver at the thought of this being true, but it's a possibility we have to consider. We both sit in silence after this, each considering the implications. If that's the case, it is even more important to get Alistair dealt with, soon. Lycans have to be strong enough if that witch is coming back. I nod at this. With everything I have recently learned, I had almost forgotten about Alistair. The quicker we deal with him, the quicker I can visit Sophia to warn her and catch her up. There's a knock on the door and Noah sits up to get it. It's probably Eli, he says, heading to the door. Eli walks in, a grave expression on his face. What happened? I question, noticing his demeanor. Change of plans, kids. He says as he sits on the dining table and Noah and I join him. So, King Alistair is back. We finally know what he was doing while he was away. He pauses, something sour in his expression. He was gathering an army for hire. Noah and I turn to look at each other, shocked. How many? Noah asks. Thousands, they haven't arrived yet. We both gape at him. How does he even have the money to hire such an army? I question. He doesn't, but they don't know that yet. We sit there, processing what this means for our plan. So, what now? I'm hesitant to ask, but we need a new plan. We don't have nearly enough people to fight an army of thousands. Oh, I have a plan. It's riskier, but we have to move quickly, before his army gets here. The good thing is, we have an advantage. And what's that? I ask. You. Vera, I take one last look at the cabin, making sure everything is just as when I found it. After all, this is Eldon's home. I imagine he's very excited to get it back for himself. Locking everything up. Noah turns to me and offers his hand. Are you ready? I gulp. As ready as I'll ever be. It's going to be all right. You'll be great. You know, you keep saying that and it doesn't really help. He laughs. It's just performance jitters. You'll be fine. I take his hand and we head out. The sun hasn't risen, so we walk with the last hours of light the moon has to offer. It's a very pleasant walk, unlike the first time I came to the cabin. The forest still has quite an unwelcoming feeling to it, but having Noah by my side makes everything better. It calms me. We walk for a few hours, taking in all of our surroundings as a way to distract ourselves from the task at hand. When we reach the clearing, Noah and I part ways. I go to the underground tunnels, the same tunnels by which I escaped, and he heads to the front of the castle, not before giving me a long, tender kiss. I enter the tunnels, guided again by the scent of Eldon's garden, and begin my walk towards the library. To be completely honest, this plan seems ridiculous. There are so many things that have been left at random, anything could happen. It's stressing me out knowing that if one thing doesn't go as planned, we will have to improvise, and we don't have much room for that either. After a long walk, I make it to the library and am greeted by Eldon. "Welcome back, Vera." He's smiling at me, but it does very little to reassure me. "Here," he says, handing me my spear which he had retrieved from Noah's room. I shake my head in disbelief. "One of these days you'll have to tell me how you get around without being noticed, Eldon." From what Eli told us, Noah's room and all the places that I frequented within the castle were still in constant watch by the guards. "Well then, today is your lucky day. Nobody can know you're here until it's time. Come." We walk to another part of the library, another entrance to the tunnels guarded by a massive painting. This time, it's of a man with a strong build and regal posture. There's something oddly familiar about this man, but I can't quite place him. "Who are these people, Eldon, the ones in the paintings?" This man seems familiar, and the other woman, who were they? "Hush, child. We must hurry. Your mate must be about to make it to the front of the castle. If anything happens, you have to be ready." He ushers me into the tunnels, following closely behind after closing the concealed door. "Follow me." I do as I'm told and we walk in silence. These tunnels are smaller than the ones that led me outside last time. There isn't enough space for me to walk besides Eldon, so I walk a few steps behind him. After about 20 minutes and too many turns to remember, we arrive at a part of the castle I don't recognize, but it has a direct line of sight to the entrance of the castle through some peepholes. We stand there in silence, waiting for Noah. After only a couple of minutes, we hear commotion. "He's back! Tell the king he's back!" We hear a voice, followed by heavy footsteps hurrying to open the massive doors. My heart starts speeding. This is it. This is the moment where we'll know if our plan has a shot of working or this is where it all ends. "Warrior Noah!" screams one of the guards. A small crowd has begun to form around the entrance, but Noah isn't being let in just yet. "Where are the rest of your scouting companions?" "I killed them," Noah says flatly. Murmurs erupt all throughout the crowd. Some are outraged, but most are simply shocked. "And why would you do that?" An angry guard steps forward, challenging Noah. "It's none of your business, but if you'd like to find out how I did it, you're welcome to come closer." Noah grins at him, his Lycan teeth showing. The crowd once again begins murmuring and whispering amongst themselves. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Eli and Lucas. Eli is looking our way, knowingly. He can't see us as we are still within the tunnels and therefore within the castle walls, but he knows the plan, he knows we're here. After a while, we hear what we were waiting for, heavy footsteps coming from the winding staircases that lead directly to the king's quarters. He's here. Well, 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 King Alistair says as he descends out of our sight. What do we have here? The traitor Noah. I clench my fist. Just listening to his nasty voice naming Noah makes my blood boil. I grip my spear with both hands now, Eldon inching closer to the concealed door that would expose us to everyone. He nods at me, and I nod at him. I look over to Eli. He and Lucas have begun to move to the strategic points they had planned out. This is the moment of truth. What will the king do? After a few minutes of silence, the king comes into vision, standing in front of the entrance to the castle with that ridiculous robe of his. Guards, take the traitor to the dungeons. We will have his trial first thing in the morning. Gather the council, I sigh in relief, softening the grip on the spear as Eldon retrieves from the door. This is the best case scenario for now. We were afraid the king would have him executed right here, right now, but Eli was right. He'd want to make a spectacle out of it, and for that, he needs time. The first step of the plan is almost complete. Now we just have to hope the king doesn't change his mind before the trial. Vera, we are still on standby in case anything goes wrong. The king has not yet left. The guards step forward and handcuff Noah with large, heavy iron. He is pushed and shoved into the castle, being forced to kneel in front of the king. The king approaches Noah and whispers something to his ear, too low to hear all the way here, but Noah reacts, launching himself at the king but is quickly stopped by the guards. Alistair lets out a loud, cynical laugh, and waves his hand dismissively as Noah's Lycan eyes continue to swirl in his pupils. Take him. No food or water for today. Then, he turns around and leaves the same way he came. Relief washes over me. Noah is pushed and shoved in the direction of the dungeons, my heart aching by the way he's being treated. Okay, the plan is in motion, child, Eldon tells me. We should go and prepare for tomorrow. Is there any way I could see him? I need to make sure he's okay. Eldon scratches his beard. Let's consult with Eli. I know some of his guys are on watch duty today, they might be able to let you in. We make it back up to the library the same way we came. This will be my hiding spot for the time being, as only very few people knew I frequented it. Eldon has even gone through the trouble of arranging a bed for me and everything. It isn't much, but it'll do the job. I thank him as he disappears through yet another dark corner of the library, leaving to consult Eli. I sit on the bed and think about everything that's supposed to happen, playing all of the different scenarios in my head, and worrying sick about Noah, basically, fueling my anxiety until Eldon comes back about an hour later. Come, we don't have much time. The guards in rotation right now are loyal to Noah, but they are switched every hour. Put this on, it'll mask your smell. I get up from the bed and follow Eldon in a hurry, putting on a council robe. Here, he says, you might need this. He hands me some bread, water, and a first aid kit. Worry sinks in my stomach as I look at him questioningly. No time. We have to hurry. I follow Eldon quietly, steeling myself for the worse. We walk for about 10 minutes, descending into the tunnels until we reach yet another fake wall. When we arrive to the dungeons, the smell is utterly putrid. I cover my nose with my hand, trying to filter out the smell of crusted blood and urine. Vera. I hear my name as we make our way through the different cells. It's Noah. I hurry towards the voice and sink to my knees at the sight. Noah is on his knees, his hands chained to the wall behind him in the far end of the cell. He's also been beaten into a pulp. I have tears rimming my eyes. How could they do this? Eldon, go get those guards, I need to clean him up. He does as he's told, and a few moments later, one of the guards shows up with the keys. He fumbles with them a bit, testing my patience. I'm quickly going from sad to murderous. If I get my hands on the ones who did this to him, I will end them myself. I get inside once the guard figures out how to use the keys and drop to my knees in front of Noah, assessing the damage. His lip is busted in many places and one of his eyes is swollen shut. The other eye isn't doing much better, but he can at least see through it. I dampen one of the rags Eldon gave me in the first aid kit and begin cleaning the crusted blood in his hair, face, and body. Once I'm done, I also see many cuts, meaning all of this blood I just cleaned was his. They had to get me while chained, otherwise all of this blood would have been theirs, Noah says while spitting blood to the side. He's angry. Good. I keep cleaning him up, putting an antibiotic solution on his open wounds. I don't know what these wounds were made with, but I'm just being extra cautious. Some of these need stitches. I say matter-of-factly. You can't. They'd know I have people helping me and they can't know just yet. We have to stick to the plan. I'll be almost completely healed by tomorrow. I stare at him, assessing what else I can do for him right now without it being too obvious. There is nothing more other than perhaps give him some painkillers. Here, I say, uncapping the water bottle and bringing it to his lips. He downs it one big gulp, also using some of it to swish his mouth and spit some more blood. I start ripping into the bread to feed him, piece by piece. He doesn't fight me on this. He continues eating in silence until the big loaf of bread is gone. I hear footsteps outside the cell. It's one of the guards. It's time to go. Our shift is almost over. I don't turn to look at him, instead I place my forehead gently on Noah's. Go, I'll be fine. I take one last look at him, holding in all of the sadness, impotence, and rage I feel right now. This isn't the time to jeopardize the mission. Eldon leads me to the fake wall once again, and we begin walking towards the library. Still, I can't shake the horrendous feeling that has settled in the pit of my stomach from leaving Noah alone. Noah, once I hear the fake wall click shut and I can no longer sense Vera, I grunt. I really should have taken the painkillers she offered. I was just acting nonchalant about it for her sake. The guards that brought me here made a point in letting me know just how much they hate me. They really did a number on me. Thankfully, Vera didn't think to check my ribs because it's likely at least 3 of them are broken. Seeing her raised my spirits, but that's not necessarily going to heal me faster. Alan, one of the guards, comes closer to the cell. Hey, boss. Alan is one of the recruits I had personally trained years ago. He's a good kid. We're off duty now, but I suggest you pretend to be unconscious. Lenny is up next and we all know how he feels about you. I grunt again. Lenny has always had a stick up his ass. Thanks, Alan. I'll think about it. He nods and heads off. It's incredibly humiliating to pretend to be unconscious so that the guards don't keep beating me, but if I want to be in any shape to execute the plan tomorrow, I have to do it. A few minutes later I hear the next guards come in and hear Lenny's snicker. What do you mean he's unconscious? The great Lycan warrior. I have to see this for myself. I let my body go limp, straining on the chains. Ha! I didn't think it was possible. I hear him opening the cell. Would you look at that? He kicks one of my knees and I remain limp, sagging further against the chains. Hey Ezra! Come check this out. Good. Ezra is with him. What do you think you're doing? Lenny? The king was very clear, he wanted him in perfect shape for his execution tomorrow. Execution? Oh, come on, Ezra. Live a little. Let's have a little fun with him, and we can blame the guards from the shift before. What do you say, hey? Lenny moves one eyebrow at Ezra's lack of response. Fine, suit yourself. I hear Lenny unfasten his belt and feel him raise it in front of me. Let's see if this wakes you up, you piece of shit. I steady myself so that I don't flinch and give myself away at the strikes, but Ezra catches Lenny's arm before he can swing. Ezra's voice is laced with venom. If you want to disobey a direct order from the king himself, suit yourself. I will enjoy watching two traitors executed tomorrow. There's a moment of silence as Ezra lets go of Lenny's hand, walking out of the cell and into his post. Lenny curses under his breath but puts his belt back on, closing the cell door loudly. Once I feel that Lenny has left and is at his post, I let out a long sigh. My blood is boiling. I can't wait to get out of here and push all of Lenny's teeth into his skull. They're all acting so triumphant already, having no idea what's coming to them. I feel my Lycan beginning to surface. Rail it in, boy, I hear a voice from another cell. It's a frail voice, I have to strain my ears to figure out where it's coming from. Who said that? It chuckles. Don't mind me. I'm the local cuckoo. I frown, or rather, try to frown. What? You haven't heard? Every dungeon needs its own insane person. What's your name? I don't have a name anymore. The rats in here call me Chirp. He actually makes the chirping noise rats make. I shake my head, this man is just insane. He lets out a loud, cackling noise, followed by a fit of coughing. He grunts. Is it me or the bread keeps getting drier and drier here? Oh wait, you've only been here a few hours. More cackling. Not to worry, friend. Chances are I won't live past tomorrow, anyway. An execution. The voice comes closer, and now I notice he's in the cell right next to mine. He pushes his face into the iron rods, coming the closest he can to me. His eyes have glazed over, and his face is almost skinny enough to pass through the bars. His hands make him look more like a skeleton than a person. I wonder how long he's been here. What did you ever do to upset the boy so? He asks. The boy? I question. Well, yes. Alistair. I find it odd that he would refer to the king like the boy. I killed some of his scouts. What did you do to upset the boy? I refused to die, he says with finality, turning serious. He retreats into his cell, into the darkness, where I can no longer see him but can definitely still hear him. I can't make out what he's rambling about, not that I care enough to try. I stay in silence, trying to rest my bangled body. About half an hour later, Ezra comes into my cell. "Hi, boss," he says, mockingly. I try to roll my eyes but they still hurt too much and I grunt. Ezra chuckles. "Sorry, it's what the young guys are calling you and it's stuck. Here," he says, uncapping a water bottle and bringing it to me. I down it slowly. "So, I'm to be executed tomorrow. That's what I came in for, though it took Lenny longer than usual to fall asleep. The word is you are to be tried at the guillotine, the trial is just for show. We won't have much time to act, I've already informed the others. This means we will have to adjust, and we don't have much room time-wise. Can I get you anything else?" I shake my head. "Ethan is coming in the next shift, we have programmed ourselves so that one of us is always here until tomorrow morning, just in case." "Thank you, Ezra." "You don't have to thank me. You're taking one for all of us." Before he leaves, he loosens my chains so that I can rest my hands on the floor. It's much appreciated as the blood had already stopped circulating, I couldn't feel my arms. As he locks the cell again, he nods at me and I do the same. Maybe now, I can get some rest in preparation for tomorrow. Noah, I open my eyes at the crack of dawn, awakened by the cackling of my friend on the other cell. When I come to, I notice I feel a lot better. Resting really helped me heal and I must have slept at least 10 hours. Now that I can actually see with both of my eyes, I look around the cell. The smell is the worst thing I have ever smelled, but at least I'm somewhat used to it by now. When my gaze falls on the cell next to mine, I'm spooked to find the same man squatting to my eye level, his face once again pressed on the cell rods. "Good morning, Princess," he says, his eyes wide. "Good morning to you, Chirp." Chirp? I like that. That's my name. I chuckle humorlessly, this man really is something. "You have to find him," he says very seriously, not blinking as he looks at me. I turn to him again, noting his serious tone and the lack of cackling. "Find whom?" I ask. "You need to find the boy." "The boy? King Alistair?" "I don't think that's going to be a problem." "No. The other boy. The one I hid." "And where did you hide this boy?" I raise an eyebrow. "You have to find the boy. The boy that would be king." I frown, wondering if this man is actually being serious now or is just delusional. "There is no boy would be king, Chirp. He was 2. And I hid him before he found out. I did good. Tell the king I did good, please tell the king I did everything I could, that it wasn't my fault. He was tricked, you see. The boy was tricked by that wench. Oh, if I could get my hands on her now." Chirp continue rambling on to himself in the corner now, pulling at his beard hair, which explains the bald spots. I feel sorry for this man, I have a feeling he wasn't like this before. Being in this goddess-forsaken place has turned him into this. I remain awake until I can see the sunlight rising from one of the few windows here. Normally, when duty called and it was time to fight, I wouldn't hesitate, in fact I wouldn't even be nervous about it. Today is different. I never had anything to lose before, and now all I can think about is Vera. She must be up to, obsessing over today's plan. I can almost feel her anxiety. Just as I'm thinking of her, the guards appear at the cell. It's two of our guys. "Morning, boss," one of them says, and I roll my eyes. They both chuckle. "Sorry, it's what the other guys are calling you and it stuck." Yeah, I interrupt him and they chuckle even more. One of them comes closer to me and unfastens the chains from the wall, but not my wrists. I look at him with an eyebrow raised. "Sorry, the big man wants you like this, something about treating you like the dog you are," he shrugs and I sigh. This king never ceases to amaze me. The other guard hands me some meat pastries and I gladly take them. "We aren't due until the king is up, which is in about 30 minutes, you'll need the energy if we want to pull this off." I nod and also take the water they brought me. "I can't thank you guys enough for doing this. I know it's dangerous, but are you kidding? We've been waiting for this day for years. I can't wait to feel like I actually have a purpose here." I guess Eli was right, but I have a feeling the consensus is more against Alistair than it is for me. I'm just the scapegoat. When I'm done eating and drinking, I nod at them and they adopt their proper posture. I turn to Chirp one last time. "Good to meet you, Chirp. See you next time," I say and wink at him. He just stares at me, his eyes turning wide, and he whispers, "You?" I don't have time to marvel at the depths of Chirp's mind, so I ignore him and follow the guys as they drag me by the chains out of the dungeon and into the main courtyard where executions are normally held. When the doors are opened to reveal the courtyard, I'm shocked. The sick son actually plans on making a spectacle out of this. The guillotine sits at the middle of hundreds and spectators, both Lycan and human. Up ahead and right in front of the guillotine, the bastard has placed the trial seats for the council and himself. He sits up top, with his stupid ensemble and a crown. The guards rough me up a bit, playing their part, then drag me by the chains onto the platform where the guillotine is displayed. They force me on my knees in front of the guillotine, right where my head would go if I'm found guilty, or rather, when I'm found guilty. The entire crowd is in a fit of murmurs until the king claps his hands. It takes a few minutes for the people to settle down, but they eventually do. He speaks. "Warrior Noah, you are being tried today for the murder of 5 of your fellow Lycan warriors while on a mission to scout for an enemy. How do you plead?" "Guilty, Your Highness." And there we have it. He admits to his treason. My dear council members, I believe we have heard enough to, if you will, Your Highness, this council would like to know why someone as highly regarded as Warrior Noah would commit such an atrocious crime, says Council Member William. I wait for the king's permission to speak. He rolls his eyes and dismissively waves his hand for me to speak. "They attacked me first, Council Member William. Had I not killed them, they would have killed me." The crowd erupts in hushed murmurs. "And why would they ever dare do that to you, Warrior Noah?" the king asks, bored out of his mind. "Well, Your Highness, the last one I left bleeding to death swore it was you who gave the orders to have me killed." Now, the crowd really goes wild. They're openly chattering, gasping, and some are eyeing the king suspiciously. Council Member William stands up at my statement, but the king is turning all shades of red out of pure anger. "Who's laughing now?" "Noah, Warrior Noah." Those are very serious accusations you're making against His Highness the King. Do you have any proof? Council Member Williams says. Unfortunately, no, I killed all witnesses, I say indifferently. This is blasphemous. How dare you speak to your king in that manner? The council members are outraged while I pick at my ear unceremoniously, further infuriating all of them. This whole acting thing is fun, actually. Gentlemen, please, I can only relay what I was told. The only reason why I came back was to search for answers, otherwise, why not follow my mate to wolf territory? Or are the rumors untrue, Your Highness? Did you not try to force yourself onto my mate in my absence? More shocked whispers by the crowd and now even some council members. Oh, I know everything you tried to do to her. I'm glad she beat your ass before you could do anything. How does it feel to lose to a girl, Your Highness? I say, my voice heavy as my Lycan has begun to surface. Council Member William turns to the king. Your Highness, is this true? Did you try to pursue a wolf? He's whispering discreetly, but we can all hear his question. Now, the king is irate. You would come back, warrior Noah, with wild accusations and no proof. Where is that mate of yours to offer her testimony, hey? Or is that unmarked wench still rejecting you? I grind my teeth. Don't trap up now, Noah. My mate is safely back home, but I therefore, Your Highness, challenge you to a duel for my mate's honor. According to Lycan code, as a king he cannot reject a direct challenge like this, but then again he is no real king. Preposterous. Guards! Off with his head! The king is so angry he spits out the last words of his sentence. The guards loyal to him approach me and lean me into the guillotine, placing my head on the nook of the half-moon. I close my eyes, this is the moment of truth. The only one who wasn't being closely monitored by those loyal to the king was Vera, which is why she's the only one that can make the first move. Sweat drips down my forehead as the crowd is going wild. Some are expectant, others are horrified. The guard moves to unleash the rope that holds the guillotine in place, but just as he's about to undo the knot, he falls to his knees, shrieking in pain and holding his wrist. His hand has been cleanly cut off. When I raise my head, it's Vera's spear that has encrusted itself in the wooden structure. You can hear a pin drop in the courtyard with how silent it's turned. Then, a distinctive battle yell. This is our signal. In the blink of an eye, the entire space has erupted into chaos. People are pushing themselves and tumbling over others to leave the courtyard and get to safety as Lycans launch at each other. It's an us versus them now. One of the guards loyal to the king comes for me in full Lycan form, but before he can approach me, he falls to the ground. Standing on his back as he falls is Vera holding a sword and, blood on her cheeks. She comes to me with the keys to my chains and frees my wrists. I rub them while studying the fighter marks on her face. She rolls her eyes, it's Eli's blood, so that I'm recognized by his scent. Don't even get me started, I'm just happy I am an actual doctor and I've had way worse on my face. I smile at her, it's just so good to see her again. Even in the middle of all of this, all I can focus on is her. Watch out, she says as she ducks and a Lycan comes tumbling onto the platform, searching for me. It's Lenny. I grin and let my Lycan out in a split second. Oh, how I've been waiting for this. Don't lose sight of the king. Vera yells at me as she's fighting off a female Lycan that's come for her. She makes quick work of her, having retrieved her spear and slicing the female's jugular. HMPF, one of Harriet's friends, she says disdainfully. Lenny launches himself at me, but he's always been a mediocre fighter at best. Still, I take my time with him, punching in his teeth just as I had wanted to last night. I'm done with him in a minute and join Vera at the center of the platform, back to back. Lycans are coming for us from all angles to try and kill us. I take a look around and it's a total bloodbath, yet I can say with confidence most of the blood is theirs. We are joined on the platform by Mason, Eva, and Lucas who nod at Vera. She nods back and turns to me. Noah, we'll cover for you, you know what you have to do. I turn to look at all of my friends, fighting, not for me, but for themselves and the future they want to have. I nod at her and leap from the platform, fighting off a couple of guards and some other loyal servants to the king. I notice the council has already scattered and fear that the king might have run away too, like the coward he is, but he hasn't. He's standing on his chair behind his two biggest guards, he hasn't moved an inch. I grin to myself. This is finally it. We will finally be rid of him. I continue to fight my way through the crowd, knocking some Lycans unconscious and killing others. I lock eyes with the king and grin a wide, vicious grin. I'm so close I can practically smell his fear. He signals for the guards to come to me, and they do, 3 at a time. I fight them off as they come, inching closer to the king. Suddenly, the 2 massive guards that were closest to him are the only ones left. When they approach me, I note they easily double me in size. Kill him. Your king commands it. Alistair says. I can no longer see him as the 2 guards tower over me. One of them makes the first move, smashing his hands on the ground as I leap up into the air. The other one punches me right in my torso as I'm in the air, knocking the air out of me. Okay, so these won't be as easy as to deal with as the rest. I dodge attack after attack, hoping they'll get tired enough for me to attack, but the contrary happens, I'm the one getting tired from evading them. It doesn't help that I was beaten mercilessly yesterday and I slept chained to a wall. After several minutes of fighting off the guards, Eli joins me and together we are able to best the 2 massive guards. But in all of this ruckus, we lost sight of the target. When I turn to look at where I last saw the king, he isn't there anymore and nobody knows where he went. Vera, I just don't understand where he could have gone, Eva says, it's like he disappeared. I swear we were keeping an eye on him. It doesn't matter now, we have to find him, Eli says, angry that the plan didn't work out the way we planned it. Eldon, is there any way he escaped through the tunnels? Noah asks. Well, it's a possibility he went into the tunnels, but I closed off all of the exits. He'll die within these castle walls before he makes it out, he says with complete confidence. Vera, do you think you could help us out? Eli asks. Sorry, I shrug, my abilities only work in the forest so far. I can't track him within the castle walls. He disappeared. He just vanished. I was keeping an eye on him the entire time we were fighting Lycans off, especially when I saw Noah was up against Dumb and Dumberer who are huge in human form, but as Lycans? Complete monsters. And then he was just gone. I lost sight of him for a few seconds as I was getting punched, and when I looked up, he was simply gone. I couldn't even trace his smell anymore. It really seemed like magic. Otherwise, the battle was a complete success. We had Lycans loyal to the crown, who despised Alistair for what he did, come in last minute and help just as Eli had planned. We also had many of the guards who weren't on the loop, come to our side when they realized what we were doing. Everything was working out better than expected, until the king disappeared. We have been dealing with the aftermath of the battle for hours now, treating the wounded and placing the bodies of the dead in a pyre that will be part of tonight's ceremony. Lycans, in likeness to wolves, also cremate their dead. As we have kept busy preparing everything, Noah and Eli are planning the next steps. It's clear the castle is ours now, and everyone here knows it. Now, the real problem is finding the king. He still possibly has access to the mercenaries he had hired initially, and if he manages to get them to the castle, we will be in huge trouble. Do we have the numbers to make front to an army? Our casualties were very low. I ask Eli, making sure he's the only one who can hear me. He stays silent, grinding his teeth. I don't think so, he says. We are all done with the pyre, and most of our friends have retreated to their rooms to clean up and rest. I stay behind, treating the last Lycans that were injured. Some just have minor injuries. Others require stitches and even casts which I have to improvise. Once I'm done, I turn in the direction of the staircase that would lead me to our room. When I round up the corner, I'm surprised to find Noah waiting for me at the base of the stairs. I thought he would be with Eli and the rest to keep discussing the plan. Puts his arm on my shoulders and hugs me gently, being mindful that we both are pretty banged up right now. He kisses the top of my forehead. I knew you'd be perfect. I smile at this. Little does he know how absolutely terrified I was that I would miss the guard and get his neck instead. We climb the stairs and make our way to the room. I'll get a bath going. I can't stand smelling Eli's blood on you. You and me both. We both undress and head into the shower before the bath is ready. I take in a small rag so that I can scrub all the blood and crust off of him first. When we are all done, we soak in the warm water of the bathtub. I sit on his lap, facing him, so I can tend to the wounds on his face. As I'm cleaning some wounds on his neck, he touches my forehead lightly, where I have a cut of my own. You know, I didn't think you'd fare so well against Lycans in their beast form, he says. You know, I mimic him. I was about to come help you out with those two monsters. You seem to be struggling. He laughs, a real belly laugh that makes my heart flutter. Not to mention what the vibration does to me considering I'm straddling him. You're healing faster now, he points out. I also noticed that the healing abilities extended beyond his mark. The wound on my forehead was gushing blood only a few hours ago and now it was almost completely healed. I have you to thank for that. I say, smiling at him. He looks at me with a confused frown. Charlotte told me a while ago that when Ethan marked her, some of his healing abilities were transferred to her. I touch my mark. I guess that works for us too. He smiles at me, but there's something else dancing in his eyes. He grabs my neck and crushes his lips to mine, surprising me. The kiss is passionate, demanding. He slips his tongue deep into my mouth and I can taste all of him as he holds me in place by my neck. The gentle pressure of his hand on his mark is driving me crazy and, in no time, I'm ready for him. I moan into his mouth, but his tongue doesn't let up, taking the opportunity to venture further, biting my lips as he goes. "Goddess," he says. I don't know if he planned on taking his time with me, but I'm too impatient. He looks at me, his Lycan eyes swirling in his irises. He's breathing heavily and gripping the tub fiercely with his hands. "Pay back," I say under my breath, referring to all the times he's teased me just like this. He chuckles, but his hands gripping me, them tightly. After a few moments of this, he looks back up at me and it's clear that playtime is over. He leans back, using me as a doll. I loll my head back as he increases the tempo, water splashing outside of the tub all around us. We're both sweating despite being in the tub. A few movements later, Noah flops on the bed, grabbing my waist and hugging me to him. He's kissing my head, forehead, nose, lips, and cheeks, until we both fall into an incredibly well-deserved nap. I wake up after a few hours feeling rested and realize I fell asleep on Noah's chest. He's caressing my hair as I stretch out, feeling inevitably sore. I turn my face up to look at him and he kisses my forehead. "You know, I would have killed last night for this, a bed with you in it," he says. "I was wondering how you managed to sleep last night, that thing smelled disgusting." "I'm guessing you didn't sleep so well yourself," he says. I blush. I in fact didn't sleep at all, worrying about him and missing him in bed. He continues stroking my hair as he speaks. "You know, it was better than I thought, and Chirp entertained me for a while. Oh goddess, I forgot about Chirp. This old prisoner next to my cell. He looks like he's been there a long time, he's gone mad. Poor man. I'll tell the guards to set him free before the pyre ceremony, I can't let him stay down there any longer." There's a hesitant knock on the door. Hey, boss." I arch my brow and look at Noah. "Boss? Hey? I like that, I might start calling you that in bed." He laughs and gets up. "Please do." He wraps a towel around his waist and cracks the door open, just enough to see who it is. Noah begins talking to whomever is at the door, but I can't make out what they're saying. Instead, I make my way to the bathroom in my tiptoes to wash up. After a few minutes, Noah joins me, dropping the towel on the floor. He slaps my back and I giggle. "If you keep this up, I don't think we'll make it to the ceremony," I tease. He comes up behind me, and kissing my neck. "Is that a threat?" he says against my neck. "On the contrary, it's a challenge," I tell him, letting my head fall back on his chest. And then, to my annoyance, there's a loud, intrusive knock on the door. Noah stops and turns towards the direction of the door. "It's Ezra, I have to go." "No." I protest, grunting as his hand makes its way back up, towards my chin. He lifts it up gently to kiss me and he leaves the bathroom. I was practically panting already and now he's leaving. Noah is getting dressed outside the bathroom but pops his head in. "Come find me in the courtyard as soon as you're done, the ceremony will start in about an hour. Tell Ezra I'm gonna kill him," I say through gritted teeth. Noah laughs and I hear the main door shut, meaning I'm alone now. I take my time to wash my hair this time, it's been so long since I've tended to it. I also intended on cleaning up the wound on my forehead, but it's completely healed, amazing. Once I'm done, I get dressed in regular jeans and a black t-shirt. There is no protocol as to what to wear for these ceremonies, at least not one that I'm aware of. When I enter the courtyard, most of the Lycans are already there, including our friends. I find Noah in the middle of a crowd, and instead of disturbing him, I find something else to do. I walk around for a bit, noting how there's an overall feeling of relief and calmness, one that I had never experienced here before. It really is something considering Alistair has been gone for less than 24 hours and already people feel better here. I smile to myself, this is all thanks to Eli and Noah. As the crowd around the pyre continues to grow, I stay in a corner, observing everyone walking around as if a weight had been lifted off of their shoulders. Then, it's time to start the ceremony. Eli steps in front of the pyre, looking solemn as he speaks, "Brothers and sisters, it is with a heavy heart that we stand here, mourning the death of our comrades to such a noble cause." The entire crowd is silent. As some of you may know, this has been a long time coming. For many more than 2 decades we have been serving an undeserving king, a coward king, and a treacherous king, but now, all of our prayers have been answered. From now on we will serve with purpose. With pride. We will finally have a worthy king, a true king. All hail, King Noah! Eli gestures to Noah and he steps forward. The crowd goes wild, cheering for him and chanting his name. I have goosebumps all over my arms from the emotion in the room. Noah steps forward, carrying a live flame on one of his hands. Brothers and sisters, everyone goes silent again. I have always fought for you and alongside you, and I will continue to do so for as long as I shall live. Tonight, however, we don't celebrate this new era for Lycans. Tonight, we honor those who fought bravely and helped us trace this new path, a path worthy for us and our children. Tonight, we mourn and tomorrow we celebrate when we have Alistair's head. The crowd again goes wild, roaring like maniacs and chanting Noah's name once again. He nears the flame to the pyre, starting it as the crowd chants in a battle cry manner. It's their way of mourning the warriors they lost. Coming from such a different culture, it really is fascinating to observe Lycans from up close. They have a completely different perception of death. While wolves mourn the fact that we won't again see our loved ones in this lifetime, Lycans celebrate their deaths as the highest honor. When the pyre is fully ignited, the crowd has broken down into groups. Some are drinking heavily, others are less boisterous, talking and laughing amongst themselves. I walk towards Noah now that there aren't as many people around him. I notice as I make my way to him that Eldon is actually here, off to a corner on his own. I think of going to him first, but Noah spots me and calls me over. He has a beer on his hand and I'm pretty sure he's tipsy. There she is. I go to his side and he hugs me. Our hero. Ezra says, and I narrow my eyes at him. You and I need to have a little talk about something. I point at him accusingly and he and Noah burst out laughing, tears in their eyes. They're definitely drunk. We keep chatting and laughing about Noah's childhood, how he was always pranking Eli and the other teachers but nobody ever dared give him away because he'd kick their asses. Everyone else would get blamed but Noah. Judging from Eli's reaction, this is the first time he's hearing about it and he's not happy. causing even me to laugh. Hey, boss! One of the younger guards approaches us. We did as you asked. Here's the prison, I'm sorry. Chirp. An old man comes up behind the guard, looking extremely fragile and malnourished. He can't really walk right. He's being aided by the other guard. Instinctively, I go to him, my doctor brain kicking in and assessing his condition, hoping to come up with a treatment plan if possible. I told you I'd see you again, chirp. Noah says, smiling at him. When I get close to him, I take over holding his hand as support, and something happens. It's as if something clicks as he looks at me. His eyes suddenly don't look lost, he looks focused. He turns his attention to Noah, and walks towards him without letting go of my arm. He approaches Noah, maybe a little too close, and reaches for him with his free hand. He's inspecting his hair, his eyes, he even lifts Noah's lips to inspect his teeth. The entire thing is incredibly bizarre, and now everyone still in the courtyard is staring at the scene. Okay, Noah says, taking Chirp's hand and placing it to his side, I missed you too. I knew it. Chirp says, his expression completely serious. Eldon has come out of his corner and is now behind Noah, looking extremely shocked. It can't be, Eldon says, sniffing the air and approaching us tentatively. He comes up and touches Chirp's face lightly, unsure, examining his features. No, this can't be. It's good to see you again, my friend. Beta Caleb, Eldon says, it's been too long, old friend. A pregnant silence follows Eldon's shocking reveal. Nobody is moving, it feels like nobody is even breathing. I look over to Noah, who is looking between Eldon and Chirp Beta Caleb with a frown. The silence is interrupted by a loud chirping noise, coming from Beta Caleb, followed by manic laughter. Vera, help me take him to his room, quick. Eldon steps to Beta Caleb's other side and we quickly leave the courtyard, heading towards the stairs. Beta Caleb continues laughing and sagging against us. Getting him up the stairs takes a few minutes, but we manage to do it, walking quickly to one of the largest rooms in the castle, the Beta's chambers. Here, I'll hold him, you open the doors. The doors are naturally stuck from being shut for so many years, a thick layer of grime and dust coming from under the doors when I finally manage to open them. Eldon walks inside with Beta Caleb, shut the door behind us. I enter the room and do as I'm told. Remove the top sheets, please. This bed smells disgusting, he tells me. Again, I do as he tells me and remove the top layers of the bedding, which are indeed dirty beyond imagination. The bed itself, however, isn't that bad, it's been protected from the dust all these years by the layers I just removed. Eldon moves Beta Caleb and sits him on the edge of the bed. Stay here, he tells me, retreating to the door, don't let him leave, and don't let anyone see him like this. I nod, dumbfounded. I'm still processing what just happened out there. Beta Caleb, Alistair's father and former beta to King Alexander, is alive. He's not only alive, but he's gone insane. He sits right now on the edge of the bed just staring absently at the space in front of him. He doesn't even seem to recognize his own room. I keep myself busy by making sure the lights in the room work and that there is running water in the bathroom. I don't know how long Beta Caleb has gone without a proper bath, but it seems like it's been a while. he smells like the dungeons. As I'm preparing a bath, there's a knock on the door. The hairs on my arms stand in awareness. I go to open the door and Noah is waiting outside rather sheepishly. Can I come in? He asks. I open the door wider for him to come in and join us. Eldon is gone, goddess knows where. I'm hoping he comes back soon. Noah steps forward in the room, regarding Beta Caleb and his absent stare into nothingness. He has moments of lucidity. I noticed it too back in the dungeons, but I could have never imagined. He trails off. How could he do this to his own father? I know exactly what he means. Do you know what this means? Noah continues. The answer was right under our noses the entire time, and we had no idea. A Beta is perfectly capable of taking over royal duties without incident. All of these years, all this time, wasted under Alistair's command. Noah, there was no way any of you could have known. Alistair kept him very well hidden, and if he didn't want him found, he was never going to be. I think there was a reason for it. Back in the cells, he was telling me about a 2-year-old boy he hid, and said that he was the rightful king. The rightful king? How is that possible? King Alexander didn't have a son. Suddenly, Beta Caleb snaps his head, turning to look at us. It takes us both by surprise and we shut up, expecting him to say something, but he doesn't. He just stares at us, primarily focused on Noah. After a few minutes, Noah moves closer to him carefully as to not scare him. Hey Chirp, how are you feeling? Ha! Chirp. That's my name, he says with humor, carefully watching Noah as he approaches. Noah crouches down in front of him. Remember that boy you were telling me about? The boy would be king? You need to tell me where to find him. I have no intentions of keeping the throne from a rightful heir. Do you remember where you hid him? Noah, I caution. It isn't wise to fluster someone who is mentally unstable. Perhaps after some treatment and therapy this question won't be overwhelming, but as it stands, it could make him snap. Beta Caleb starts rocking back and forth in the bed, staring directly at Noah but not saying a word. Noah, I think we better let him rest. I'm drawing a bath for him, maybe that will calm him. As I'm saying that, Eldon comes in through the door with a basket filled with herbs. I can smell chamomile, lemongrass, lavender and many others. Oh good, you're already drawing a bath, he says and proceeds to the bathroom to dunk all of the herbs into the water, stirring them in with his hand. Help me get him in. I go forward to help him but Noah stops me. I'll do it. He carries Beta Caleb to the bathroom, ridding him of the horrible robe he was wearing, then he carefully puts him in the bathtub where Eldon is waiting with a sponge. There. This will make you feel better. Eldon is bathing Beta Caleb carefully and Noah and I step out of the bathroom to give him some privacy. Where do you think he could have hidden such a boy? A royal baby can't be easily hidden. Much less a toddler. I ask. I don't even know if it's true, V. He might just be delusional, maybe all those years in the dungeons altered his memories. Besides he'd be what? 25 or 26 already. Surely he would have claimed the throne by now. About 20 minutes go by until Eldon emerges from the bathroom with Beta Caleb. He looks a lot better now that he's clean, and smells a lot better too. Carefully, Eldon lays him on the bed for him to rest, but as soon as he sees Noah again, he jolts up. This time, he's tearing up. I served my king. I served my king well. Oh Eldon, will you tell him? Will you tell the king I saved his boy? Eldon is looking at him perplexed. Caleb, our king had no children, he was unmated, he says gently. No. No no no. He had a son, a hidden mate. For 2 years I kept the secret of his birth, and for 24 years I kept the secret of his existence from my boy. Please tell him I did good. Please tell him to forgive my boy. He has tears flowing freely down his cheeks. We are staring at him, confused. Eldon tries to shush him gently but he won't stop crying. I will, my friend, I will, but then tell me, where is this boy you speak of? With a very serious expression, Beta Caleb raises a shaky hand and points it at Noah. Vera, I gasp, my hands flying to cover my mouth. Eldon is equally shocked and his mouth hangs open. We're both staring between Beta Caleb and Noah, trying to figure out if there is any semblance of truth in what Chirp is saying. Noah frowns, but doesn't say a word. He approaches Beta Caleb and puts a hand on his forehead. It's okay, Chirp. I will tell him you did good, you did everything you had to do. Now, you have to get some sleep. Beta Caleb smiles at Noah's comforting words and lays down on the bed again, closing his eyes and breathing peacefully. In only a few minutes, he's sound asleep. The bath Eldon prepared for him and the comfortable bed he's on are working their magic. Eldon and Noah quietly move away from him, joining me by the door. Nobody hears from this until we have confirmation that this is true. We can't claim such wild allegations without solid evidence, Eldon whispers to us. Eldon, Beta Caleb is insane. We can't possibly believe what he's saying. We know who my father was, he claimed me before he died, Eli will tell you. There is no point in entertaining Beta Caleb's idea. Eldon narrows his eyes at him. Follow me, he says. We leave the room silently and follow Eldon, not before telling 2 of the guards to watch the beta chambers so that Chirp won't be disturbed. Heading towards the staircase that leads to the library, Noah gives me a look and rolls his eyes. For some reason, I'm not as dismissive of the notion, in great part because Eldon guards many secrets to this castle and the royal family. If he's entertaining the idea, there must be a reason. When we reach the library, Eldon sniffs around before entering, making sure we're not being followed. I find myself double-checking as well. Once we're inside, Eldon retreats to one of his dark corners but Noah and I stay by the door, unsure if we should follow him. All of a sudden, bright moonlight shines in from the direction where Eldon went, and then more and more light. I'm having trouble deciphering where it's coming from until Eldon rounds up the corner, dragging heavy drapes across the floor. He proceeds to reveal even more floor-to-ceiling windows right in front of us with elaborate stained glass designs. I never knew these windows existed. He continues to round up the corner and now the library is as bright as if it were daylight pouring in. I gasp. The library is even more majestic this way, with the intricate designs creating a kaleidoscope effect on the space. Eldon comes back from the corner and joins us in the middle. Come, he says. We follow behind him, admiring how much more open the space looks now. Eldon stops and we turn to look at what we stopped in front of. It's one of the doors to enter the tunnel, the one covered by a portrait of a man. Only now that I can see him better, he has dirty blonde hair and caramel-colored eyes. He has some resemblance to Noah, but nothing striking. This is King Alexander, or rather the last portrait left of King Alexander. The first thing Alastair did when he came to power was burn all portraits of him and his father before him. It was his way of deleting him from history. This is the only thing I managed to save. I always wondered what he looked like. Eli and all the other teachers would talk secretly about him to us, but we never saw pictures. Eldon nods and he looks at us, expectant. After a few minutes, "Yeah, I don't see it," Noah says. "There is some resemblance but it's nothing striking," I say honestly, looking at Noah and back at the portrait. Eldon rolls his eyes. "Come along, then." We follow him to the other side of the library, to the door through which I first exited the castle. This is the one with the portrait of a woman. This portrait came in after Alastair had won, so when it came in, I just stashed it here to hide it. It was commissioned by King Alexander long before his demise. I can't actually see it, but I was told it's of a woman. What do you see? My mouth hangs open and I quickly cover it with my hand, taking a step forward. The resemblance is uncanny. She has the same color of hair as Noah, and some of her facial features resemble his, but what is undeniable is the eye color. Whomever painted this portrait made sure to capture her eye color in great detail, and it's exactly how I would paint Noah's eyes. She has the same specks of gold dancing in her irises. "Noah," I say, but when I turn to him, he's looking at the portrait, shocked. "This doesn't mean anything." "Eldon, it's just a couple of paintings and we don't even know who she is," he finally says. "I know, which is why we have to investigate further. Caleb did say King Alexander took in a secret mate, and I think this could have been her." I keep looking back and forth between Noah and the woman, having no doubt in my mind that this is his mother. "Leave it to me. I'll find out, but again, I suggest this stays between us until we can prove it." Noah and I nod at Eldon and go our separate ways. Eldon stays in the library, disappearing off into some corner as usual, and Noah and I head down to the courtyard again. The place is deserted already and the pyre has all but burnt out. We step outside the castle, greeting the night guards as we go. We lay just outside the castle, on the grass, staring up at the full moon. We stay silent for a long time, lost in our thoughts. I'm mainly worried about what's going on inside Noah's head after such a big revelation. It seems to me like he's in a bit of denial still. "It makes no sense," he says. I turn to look at him and he continues, "Why would King Alexander have a secret mate? And why would they hide a child? You'd think they would celebrate having a male heir." He trails off. I think we have to wait to see what Eldon comes up with, but Noah, you can't deny that it's very possible that those are your parents, King Alexander, and that woman. How come nobody knew? Had we not found Beta Caleb, we wouldn't know any of this. A 2-year-old is pretty easy to kill. Alastair wouldn't have let you live. We stay silent another while, just staring up at the stars. Then, Noah stands up and offers me his hand. "I'm tired, and we have a big day ahead of us tomorrow. We should get some sleep." I smile and take his hand. walking hand in hand back into the castle and into our room, for some well-deserved rest. Vera, the next morning comes along faster than I'd like. I turn around and extend my arm to the other side of the bed, searching for Noah, but I hear the shower running. He's already getting ready. I yawn and stretch, getting up to join him in the shower. When I come in, he has his eyes closed, letting the water stream down on his head. I take a minute to admire the physique on this man. His toned abs, legs and arms look absolutely delicious, and then, I let my gaze linger one of my favorite parts hanging between his legs. See anything you like? He's staring at me, catching me shamelessly ogling him. I blush, but still step into the shower with him. I take the rag and soap, soaping up his back. When I'm done, he returns the favor, washing my entire body before we have to go out and face our new reality. Did you get any sleep last night? I ask him as we towel ourselves dry. Barely, he says. We continue getting ready. We're in casual clothes, jeans and a t-shirt. Before we're completely done, Eli is knocking at the door. Noah goes to let him in as I grab my spear and hang it on my back. Good morning, Your Royal Highnesses, he smiles, sarcastically. We have a busy day ahead of us, so I suggest you keep up. He turns around and begins walking. Noah gives me a look and we both follow behind him. It's around 5 a.m. and most of the people are still asleep. First things first, we have to meet with the council and lay down the new rules. Which are? I ask. Well, it's quite simple, he says as he opens the door to the council meeting room. Either they accept Noah as the new king or they get decapitated. He's smiling as he opens the doors wide and we step in, no doubt picturing the decapitation of these poor souls. A chill runs down my spine. The council is already sitting around the grand table, leaving only one spot at the head designated for the king. None of them stand as Noah takes the empty seat, followed closely behind by myself and Eli. Once he sits, he looks back up at me as I stand beside him. I smile at him, letting him know this is fine, I don't mind standing. Gentlemen, Eli speaks, your new king doesn't need any introduction, of course, but from now on you shall address him as His Highness, His Royal Highness, or King. Is that clear? One of the council members stands up angrily, his seat scooting back and falling and his face bright red. You will never be king. Warrior Noah, you hear me? What you did was a disgrace. We have ways, we have protocol, and you just shitted on all of it. I suggest you sit down, council member, or this will be a shorter meeting than I intend it to be, Noah says. His voice is thick, clearly indicating that his Lycan is just below the surface. The council member does not sit down and instead looks at Noah disdainfully. He huffs and angrily begins walking to the exit. Eli looks at me and nods in the direction of the door. In a moment, I unsheath my spear and throw it to intercept the council member. It encrusts itself on the wood, only a few inches away from the council member's head. He stops cold in his tracks, his face looking rather pale as he stares at his reflection on the metal of the weapon. I suggest you listen to your king. Council member. I say a little too sweetly. I didn't get much sleep last night, I might miss next time. I see the Adam's apple on the council member's neck bob up and down. He slowly steps away from where he was almost impaled by my spear and moves back to his seat, picking up the chair and sitting on it. First order of business, I'm not going to force anyone to support me as king. You can leave after you've heard what I have to say and then decide if this is something you want to be a part of or not. We did not do what we did on impulse, and if there would have been any other solution, we would have taken it, but there wasn't. It shouldn't be a secret to you how much Alistair was despised in this castle, how many warriors, healers, and scholars deserted after he became king. It is also no secret to any of you how he became king. He makes a point to look directly at the council member that spoke earlier, but now, all of that changes. If there is any legitimate claim to the throne, it will be evaluated fairly, honestly, and with the well-being of all Lycans taken into account. Eli looks at him sideways but gives nothing away. I know he's confused by what Noah just said, but we can't tell him anything, not yet. Noah continues, we will be looking at the financial situation of the entire kingdom over the next couple of days. There have been some troubling reports from beyond the castle that evidence just how mismanaged it has been. There is a shortage of crops being reported from the east and attacks by rogues from the south. Any idea what King Alistair was doing about all of this? The council members remain quiet for a moment, looking at each other. One brave voice speaks, if I may. Council member William says as he stands, a party of 10 was sent to the south to deal with the rogues a month ago, we never heard back from them. In regards to the crop shortage, we didn't do anything. King Alistair didn't think they were being truthful, merely trying to avoid their taxes. I stare at him in disbelief and Noah runs his hand through his face in annoyance. You've got to be kidding me. 10 warriors to deal with a rogue invasion to one of our most crucial territories. Noah sighs, okay. What else should I know about? The meeting proceeds for many hours more. Eventually, I get tired of standing and retreat to one of the chairs at the back designated for guards. Eli joins me eventually, completely satisfied with how Noah is handling the meeting. Would you look at that, the kid is a natural, it's like he was born for this, he whispers to me. I simply smile. If only he knew just how right he might be. Do you think they'll comply? I'm afraid we have a couple of wolves dressed as sheep amongst us. I point out. Certainly, but they'll be revealed in time. Noah has the support of his warriors and soon will have the support of all the kingdom, I have no doubt. I admire your positivity. You mean to tell me you don't think he can do it? He raises an eyebrow at me. I mean to say, Alistair is still out there up to goddess knows what. Before dealing with all of this, we should be hunting him down to the ends of the earth. And we will. We have warriors scouting for him as we speak, it's only a matter of time before he shows up. The entire table stands, including Noah, and we stand with them. We will meet again after lunch. Again, if you are not on board with my proposals, I suggest you don't return. If you don't return, you will be given 48 hours to get your affairs in order, pack up your stuff, and get out. A couple of council members nod and take their leave, others are left whispering amongst themselves off to a corner, taking turns to throw scornful looks our way. I retreat my spear from the door frame and make sure to look at them as I do, it's a very clear threat to them and I'm hoping, for their sake, they understood. Eli and I join Noah and head to the dining halls. If I have to listen to one more complaint about the state of the council's quarters, I'm going to lose my shit, he says under his breath. I chuckle. As we're about to enter the dining hall, something catches my eye off to a corner and I find Eldon partially hidden. He beckons me over and I share a look with Noah. He nods and I head over to where Eldon is. Wolf, I need your help. Come with me. Can I just have lunch first quick, he says. I grunt but follow him, hoping this is worth losing my lunch over. Vera Eldon walks quickly to the beta's chambers and I follow close behind. When we get there, the guards are gone and he opens the doors. I step inside to find Beta Caleb sitting in front of a window and looking out with that distant look of his. He seems fine otherwise. I need you to try to heal him. What? The last time he had a moment of lucidity was when you touched him, back at the pyre ceremony. Maybe it helped him. But I touched him later too and it did nothing for him. Vera, please. Just try. Eldon, I could just as well fry his brain. I don't know how to use my magic yet. Just go by what you feel, he says as he takes my arm and guides me to Beta Caleb. I sigh but comply. I kneel in front of Beta Caleb, taking a good look at him first. His beard has been shaven and his hair neatly cut. There is a semblance of the man he used to be. Did you do this? I ask Eldon, wondering about the haircut. It hurt my soul to see him in such disarray, he says. What is your connection to him, anyway? I ask. He growls lightly at me with a frown. Okay. Here goes nothing. I close my eyes, and try to go with the feeling as Eldon says, remembering the one time I touched the moon peonies and felt my intentions flow through to the flowers. I rub my hands together, concentrating, and then take Beta Caleb's hands in mine. I stay like this for several minutes, with my eyes closed and focused on Beta Caleb, but I can't feel anything happen. With the moon peonies there was electricity running down my fingertips. But right now there isn't even the hint of a spark. I sigh, I'm sorry, Eldon. I can't feel anything happening. When I open my eyes, I find that Beta Caleb has closed his eyes and is resting against the chair. Great, I managed to put him to sleep. It's okay, Eldon says, defeated, I just needed to know. He pauses. To answer your earlier question, I was Caleb's teacher back in the day. He was one of my first students and one of the most brilliant and honorable men I ever had the pleasure of teaching, and King Alexander? Oh, King Alexander was something special. He was everything I would ever hope a king would be. He was finally going to bring along absolute peace for the kingdom, I was sure of it. His father made peace with your kind, and with which gone, we only had to further nurture that relationship to be the kingdom I always knew we could be. But then, Alistair took a piss on all of that. Eldon moves to a small table in front of another window, grabbing a glass and filling it up with what I think is wine. He pours a second glass for me. I join him and we both drink. It's very good wine, albeit on an empty stomach. All of them were spectacular, and all of them were stolen of their greatness, he says bitterly as he empties his glass and pours himself more wine. This further explains why he hated Alistair so much, and why he stepped down from his council position. Do you think he will ever get better? I ask him, looking at Beta Caleb. I don't have much hope. Maybe he can have some moments of lucidity now that he's in a better situation, but I believe his mind is too far gone. I look down at my glass, feeling sad that this would happen to him at the hands of his own son. I also feel incredibly grateful, knowing that if Noah is in fact King Alexander's son, Beta Caleb protected him despite paying the ultimate price, losing his son and his mind. Eldon, I'm going to do everything I can to help him, maybe my aunt and grandmother can teach me. He smiles and pats my hand. I appreciate that, he says. I excuse myself and head out, hoping there is still something left for lunch. As I'm making my way through the castle, on my way to the kitchen, I stop suddenly at the entrance to one of the courtyards, my ears ringing. Something is guiding me there and I know better than to ignore this feeling. Soon enough, I'm making my way to Charlotte's garden, the ringing in my ear becoming stronger with every step. I step inside and find Charlotte reading on one of the benches. She greets me but I can't really hear what she says. I turn to look at the moon peonies and they're glowing, the ringing is coming from them. I kneel in front of them, cupping one of them in my hands, almost like in a trance. I examine them closely, finding that not only are they glowing, they're actually vibrating. A couple of petals drop into my palms and with that, the ringing, glow and vibration stops. I snap out of it immediately, shaking my head. I look down at the petals in my hands, wondering what all of this was about. Charlotte is kneeling in front of me with a concerned expression. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was about, I say, trying to brush it off and to erase her worry. Did you also see that or was it just me? See what? She asks. The flowers were glowing just now. The only thing I saw glowing was your necklace, she says. My necklace. I look down at the necklace Dr. Owens gave me. I don't see it glowing and I turn to Charlotte. Maybe we're both imagining things, she smiles, helping me up. I take her hand and we both smile. This is a little awkward, who knows what Charlotte must be thinking after what she just saw. Oh, hey. I say, I hadn't had the chance to thank you for giving me these. I gesture at the petals, they're the only way I managed to escape the king. So it's true, she asks. I knew that man gave me the creeps, I told Ethan the minute I saw him. I knew he was up to no good with you, us girls just have that sixth sense you know. I smile at her, unfortunately, I do. I stay here catching up with Charlotte about everything that has happened since I last saw her. She was immediately aware of my mark and she congratulated me on it, winking and making me blush. It feels good to have a normal conversation with someone that doesn't involve war plots and murder and all of the unpleasantness we have been exposed to recently. You know, I've been reading up on moon peonies and they say they have amazing healing properties when ingested, she mentions, glancing at the petals in my hands. Really? But they're poisonous. Well, it's like selective poison. She takes one of the petals between her fingers, see? They burnt Harriet and the king, but they don't burn you, Ethan, or me. I still haven't figured out how that works. I examine the flowers closely. If they do have healing properties, maybe Eldon could make Beta Caleb a tea with them and see what happens. I thank Charlotte and head back into Beta Caleb's room. Maybe this is why my ears were ringing and the flowers offered me their petals. It sounds ridiculous, even to me with everything I have experienced this past month, but I have to try. Noah, when I enter the dining hall, without Vera, everyone stops eating and stares at me. They don't know if they should stand, as they did with Alistair whenever he walked into a room, or if they should just ignore me like any other warrior, which I was less than 48 hours ago. The silence is beginning to annoy me as I make my way to fix myself some food. The female Lycans even attempt to take my plate from me and serve me themselves. I try to politely wave them off and thank them, but they're quite insistent. In the end, I just take my food and sit with my normal group of people. Once I sit, it's like everyone is holding their breath to see what I do, so I just start eating normally, like I always do, not minding the stares. Ethan, Ezra, and Mason are sitting next to me and in front of me biting their cheeks so they don't laugh. I growl at them slightly, challenging them to say something. So how do you like the stir-fry, Your Highness? Ezra asks, completely serious. Would you like for me to cut your steak, King Noah? Ethan asks. Or here, Your Highness, Mason says, let me just. He proceeds to place a napkin in my collar. The silence in the entire room is deafening. I stare at all three cheeky bastards and unceremoniously grab my stir-fry with my hand and spread it all over Ethan's face. The mouths of the other two hang open as they stare back and forth between Ethan and myself. I picked Ethan for this specifically because he finds this absolutely disgusting. I'm just waiting for his reaction. It's on him, he says as he takes food in his hands and throws it violently my way. Only I grab Mason by his neck and place his face directly in the line of fire. It misses me, but it gets Mason good. There's another minute of silence as the entire room registers what just happened. Then Mason yells, "Food fight!" All breaks loose. There is food flying everywhere, the female Lycans have run into the kitchen to hide, and the youngsters are even on the tables, running away from their elders whom they took the opportunity to soil with food. It's complete chaos and I absolutely love it. Even Eli has joined in after one of his students threw a bowl of pasta his way. This right here reminds me of the old days, when we were young and would get into food fights at least once a month and had to pay a very heavy price for it, cleaning up, extra hours of training, more combat hours, more laps around the castle, so on and so forth. It was worth it every single time. By the end, there is no more food left to throw around and we are all exhausted from the action and from laughing so much. When we compose ourselves, I look around at all the mess we caused. All of us, no exceptions, are absolutely disgusting, covered in all types of food head to toe. The floor, the walls, and inexplicably the chandeliers and ceiling also have food stuck to them. Everyone is looking sheepishly at me, probably waiting for me to snap. I clear my throat and look at all of them. Anyone below the age of 16 has to stay here and clean. The rest of you, back to work. I say, completely serious. I can only imagine how stupid I look giving orders while completely covered with food. I hear all the youngsters groan and complain, one even has the audacity to answer back. But you started it. It's not fair. That's no way to speak to your king. One of the teachers scolds him. It's okay, I say, young man, it's not about who starts a fight, it's about who finishes it, and from what I saw, you were the last one to throw that bowl of salad. I point to the empty bowl still in his hands. Ethan, Ezra, Mason, and the rest of our group burst out laughing. I clear my throat again, feigning seriousness. All right, let's get to it. As I leave the dining hall, I see out of the corner of my eye the female Lycans coming out and handing the youngsters buckets with water and mops. I also hear their collective groans. I smile to myself, on the verge of laughter, as I make my way to the kitchen to ask the cooks to prepare something for Vera for when she comes back. Next, I head in for a quick shower and coffee before entering the hours-long torment that is my meeting with the council. At the meeting, I was pleasantly surprised to find that most of the council members came back for the second round. It was my understanding that they were not at all pleased with the change in management, but of course, they want to keep as much power and influence as they can. The rest of the meeting was spent addressing their various concerns due to the coup, most of which had to do with their benefits as council members, and of course, their pay, and very little to do with the well-being of the kingdom. One of them even suggested they get the pay of the ones that left evenly distributed amongst themselves for picking up their slack. When the meeting is over, I at least managed to draw and agree on an agenda for the next meetings and changes that would be implemented right away, which included not taxing communities affected by drought or grain shortage. They were obviously not pleased, but agreed nonetheless. All right, council session over, we will meet here tomorrow at the same time. You are all dismissed, I say. Most of them bow their heads my way as a sign of respect as they leave, others won't even look my way. I make a mental note to remind them that they have a very simple choice to make: either they get with the program, or they can get out of this castle. I don't even know what time it is when the meeting finally ends. All I know is that I'm hungry and I haven't heard anything from Vera since she took off with Eldon. When I make my way back to the dining hall, there's nobody here. It really must be late. I open the doors to the dining hall, expecting for it to be completely empty, but instead I find Vera eating completely alone on a table. Her eyes find mine as soon as I spot her and she smiles at me. This is all I need after a very long day. I close the gap between us and sit next to her, giving her a quick kiss, her lips cold from the ice in her drink. So, I leave you alone for a few hours and you get food on the chandelier, she says, pointing at the chandelier at the center of the room with her fork. I laugh. I actually think that was one of the young ones. They hate you, you know? It's barbaric to have them clean this entire hall, she laughs. Hey, it builds character. It certainly helped mine. Well, the cooks and other cleaning staff were very grateful, perhaps that's why they made us dessert, she points at the cake she's eating. I smile at her, feeling incredibly lucky that I get to have some moments of normalcy with the love of my life, and that she's not the least bit spooked by everything happening in my life right now. I open my mouth to speak, but her eyes dart to the entrance of the dining hall. I turn around, following her gaze. Eldon is looking directly at us, his eyes wide and looking rather pale. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.